Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Arena video for Brawl. Now, the deck that we're going to be looking at today is going to be a deck that you've probably seen quite a bit in Nicol Bolas. However, this one's a bit different in, as the name suggests, we have a master plan. You can kill me later. So, it's pretty straightforward, it's in the name. We're building up this deck around Amass, the zombie army mechanic that was associated with Nicol Bolas in War of the Spark, and was also in Grixis colours. So whilst Nicol Bolas is the commander, the deck's not so much built around him, so much as him being the flagship, because he's the only planeswalker with those colours available. Or only planeswalker, only legendary creature or planeswalker, in fact, that we can use at the moment. Unless we go to Historic, in which case we can use the other Nicol Bolas. So, with that in mind, the deck's not all that complex. We don't actually have any 1-drops, since nothing particularly amasses in that range. We have the majority of Amass cards, barring a few which just aren't quite good enough. So, Grim Initiate, I think, could honestly go in. Getting ahead of myself. But yeah, so thinned it down a bit, since we do still need the deck to function somewhat well. And so let's just speed through this. So, Augur of Bolas. We have quite a few non-creatures, since quite a few of the Amass effects are on non-creatures. On top of that, we do still have some planeswalkers in here to take advantage of Nicol Bolas's abilities. So there's still value in that. However, we've got enough that it seems worthwhile. It's got Bolas in the name, so it fits the flavour. Lazotep Reaver is a good thing, that creature that enters the battlefield and immediately produces us an Amass token. It's one of the cheaper options, barring the 1/1 red one that whatever, and I've completely blanked the name already. Callous Dismissal, it removes something, gets us an Amass token. Lazotep Plating gives our permanents hexproof until the end of turn, and amasses 1. Aid the Fallen can get back an Amass creature and also a planeswalker, so it's 2 for 1 there, so value. Dreadhorde Invasion is the card that we always hope to draw, because this one will get the ball rolling and will keep it rolling, and then gives us the lifelink to just keep ourselves in the game, despite the fact that we're likely only going to have one key playing creature in the zombie army. The Elder Spell, once again it flavorfully fits. It's able to answer a bunch of planeswalkers and plays nicely with Nicol Bolas, where we can just win the game outright, depending on the board state. Tyrant Scorn, it's removal for cheap things, but also can bounce something that one of the creatures that amasses, so we can amass again. So, got some value there, regardless. So it's either removal or another Amass trigger. Firemind's Research, playing into the number of instants and sorceries. Well, is it actually a lot of instants and sorceries? 14. So, not the highest number, but yeah, we have a decent number, so we can get some card draw. We can potentially deal damage as a finisher. This is one of the weaker card options in here, but it's done alright so far. Could be reconsidered, but it does what it does. Arcane Signet, we're playing a pretty middle of the line setup, but Nicol Bolas has a really strict requirement to cast it, so any mana fixing and acceleration we can get is great. Aven Eternal, it's a vanilla 3 mana French vanilla that amasses, so it's not the best, but at least it's got evasion to get some extra damage in. Flux Channeler, Proliferate. So, whenever it casts a non-creature spell, which as we established is a lot of the deck, so we can proliferate up our planeswalkers and we can proliferate up our army. Vizier gives zombie tokens Death Touch. Murderous Rider is just removal. Overseer gives hexproof and menace, so evasion and protection for our army. Portal of Sanctuary, it allows us to return our creatures that can enter the battlefield and amass, so we can get multiple triggers. It also can get Augur of Bolas, so we can search for cards a bit more. So it's got some utility there. Narset, Opponents can't draw cards, great ability. Digs us for cards, which is most of our deck. So, just good value there. Deliver unto evil. If we control our commander, we can get 4 cards back to our hand from our graveyard. Otherwise, we get 2 of them of our opponent's choice, which isn't as good, but late game, I mean, we intend to always play this while there's Nicol Bolas. If we're playing this when the opponent doesn't, if I'm playing this and I don't have Nicol Bolas, then either my opponent's killed it in response, or we've got no other option. And hopefully got a graveyard with enough options to make it a difficult choice for the opponent. Toll the Invasion, hand destruction, with a little bit of amassing thrown in. Honor the God Pharaoh can draw us a card, get something in graveyard that we can potentially bring back later. Invade the city. For each instant and sorcery, we amass X. Well, sorry, we amass X for each instant and sorcery. Great Finisher. Can be a dead card if you've not got any instant and sorceries in graveyard, but it's probably the largest amount of amass we get, barring potentially commence the end game, which is based on cards in hand. Bedevil, more removal. Spark Double, we've got some decent planeswalkers. We've got ETBs that give us our Amass triggers, so Spark Double's there. God Eternal Kefner, once again, instants and sorceries, is in flavour with Nicol Bolas. And now we start getting into the things that give effects that aren't exactly the most cost efficient, but it's for the Amass. So, Dreadhorde Twins. Amass is 2, so it's a decent Amass. It's a 2/2 itself, so it is at least a 4 power for 4 mana, and it gives zombie tokens trample. Drawn from Dreams grabs us whatever we need, whenever we need it. Angrath gives creatures menace. Amass is 2. It's a decent one for going for the Amass, since it gives the evasion and it gives us an army, or 4 power on the army, just on its own. Widespread Brutality is our main way of removing things. So we amass 2, and then we deal damage to each non-army creature equal to the army's power. So we can get a pretty big board wipe going there. Eternal Skylord, 5 mana, amass 2, zombie tokens have flying, so more evasion. Enter the God Eternals is just a solid card. We deal 4 damage, we gain life, we mill 4, we amass 4. So the zombie army will get big pretty quickly after that. Ralzaric gives us some card sorting, gives us some removal, gives us a decent enough emblem if we're able to get to that point, but I don't think we ever will. Commence the endgame, as I mentioned before, it is a big potential Amass. It draws us some cards, which we're somewhat lacking, and it then also can't be countered, so it's not got as many risks of playing into potential counter spells, so it's good at the top end. Liliana may not be the best option for the sacrifice effect, at least not on entry unless we really need it. However, it does create zombie tokens, and these effects are given to zombie tokens. So we can give them the Death Touch, we can give them Hexproof and Menace, we can give them Trample, we can give them Flying. So it at least does that. And it's also, once again, flavorful with Nicol Bolas and the entire attack on Ravnica. Ugin the Ineffable. It's decent removal, it's decent planeswalker, and it gets us more bodies on the field. That's the main reason, honestly. It gives us answer to enchantments which otherwise we don't have. So it's got its uses. And then Scholar of the Ages, because, as I said, we've got some decent instants and sorceries that we want to replay multiple times. So Scholar of the Ages is able to get those back, and then with the Portal of Sanctuary, we can bounce it to get more triggers from it. So that's pretty much all of the important things. Land-wise, the things of note. So yeah, we've got a Field of the Dead, because once again, more zombie tokens. We're playing 3 colours, so it's a lot easier to get. Khan's Bastion, similarly, is for the Proliferate, which is good for these style decks. And Nicol Bolas is going to be hard to cast, admittedly, with those both being colourless. However, the deck isn't built around him solely, so That's why it's not as focused on as heavily. And then, I mean, it's similarly why we've got more islands and swamps. And then I think also I've not put any of the blue-red lands in, barring steam vents that enter tapped, since I do primarily want the black on the tap lands from these so that we can still play Nickel Bolas. But red isn't as much of a priority. The only thing that requires double red is the widespread brutality. So most of the time, the single red will do. So now let's quickly just go over some other considerations I had and why they didn't make it in. So first and foremost, because I was going more for flavour than actually going for something more competitive, there were quite a few options that just didn't make the cut because they're still part of the Eternal Army of Bolas, but not related to Amass. So Dreadmalkin required me to sacrifice another creature to put 2 counters on it, so it could grow big, but I'm then dumping mana into making that big as opposed to my army, so it's so-so. Falmar Knight, going in with a zombie theme. Unfortunately, none of the zombie lords give it to other zombies, just armies. Not armies, sorry, just tokens. So, not too good in that regard, and drawing a card, losing 1 life for 3 mana isn't that worthwhile when I've got access to blue. Grim Initiate. This, along with the 4 mana Herald of the Dread Horde, both didn't make the cut because they are death triggers for making the Amass token. So, Herald of the Dread Horde is 4 mana for a 3-2, which is a decent enough body, but it has to die for the Amass too. And when I'm mostly going for the Amass, I'd rather be able to get the enter the battlefield so I immediately get that value. So, Herald, and that's also why Grim Initiate didn't make the cut. Contentious Plan. It proliferates and draws a card. It's decent, but it's not quite the necessary fix we need, and takes up a slot that we could otherwise use in other cards. And is also the wrong side of the team, essentially, which I guess Spark Double is as well, but Spark Double just plays better. Eternal Taskmaster. Once again, we're a little bit light on actual creatures, so it's spending a turn to get back a creature that's going to enter the battlefield to get, probably at best, another 1 or 2 Amass triggers. Soul Diviner is a great option. It's a repeatable way to draw cards, and you can remove it from planeswalkers or creatures or lands, which, with lands, I'd probably also put in a Blast Zone just so you can remove counters from it that way as a means of drawing cards as well for 2 mana. Yeah, it fits. It works in the deck. I just don't have one, so I didn't want to craft one to put in the deck. Thought Erasure is just solid hand hate. It can get rid of answers to things before they become problems, and it could probably go in the place of the Fireman's Research. Dreadhorde Butcher, once again another flavourful card, but requires a lot more aggression to get going, and if I draw it late, I've not really got the means of pushing it through as effectively. It might still work well, but I wasn't feeling it. Guild Informant allows you to repeatedly proliferate, but it's a 1/1 and is so quite vulnerable. 3 mana to play it, so it's taking up a turn, and I'd rather, instead of getting this down and potentially start getting some proliferation going, just play something that puts the counters on through Amass. Stealth Mission is a good finisher. You get 2 more counters on a creature, which could easily be the army. It gets unblockable for the turn, so you can get a nice big smack in it. But then, in response, they just tend to kill it, and since I'm hopefully constantly being able to produce them, I'd rather just push through. Though, once again, could still be a decent consideration. Bleeding Edge is 3 mana to give something -2/-2. Which is just a little bit too steep for me. Even though I do still get the Amass 2, it's not good removal for the mana cost to then justify the Amass. Like, the 3 mana, what was it? Toll of the Invasion. Yes, it's a bit more expensive than you'd like to play to get an opponent to discard a card, especially when Thought Erasure exists, but at least for the 1 extra mana I can justify it for the Amass. I don't quite manage that with a -1/-1. -2/-2, sorry. Even though it could still be a decent answer, it's just too situational. Midnight Reaper, it says non-tokens, even though it would fit in with the zombie sub-theme. Spark Reaper, similar boat to the Spark, the Soul Diviner and Dreadmilkin, sort of a hybrid between the two. Because it's sacrificing rather than removing counters, though. Once the army gets big, the army's not worth sacrificing, and I want the ETB triggers from the armies, so it's kind of a catch-22 that I don't think the sacrifice is quite good enough for it. Tonebound Lich, it was a zombie, it drew me a card, got rid of a card, had Death Touch for blocking things out. Didn't quite make the cut when I was trying to make space for the Amass. Saheeli is another one that could go back in. It only got cut because of spacing issues. Once again, is a prime contender for taking the slot of the Firemind's Research, since it allows me to go a little bit wider with all of the Amass triggers. Although the servos can't become copies of the army and don't get the ETB triggers from copying one of the ETB lords. The only real plus is that they can become a copy of the zombie lords, and then they are tokens themselves, so they gain their own abilities. But even then, it's a bit of a push, but is still probably a worthwhile consideration and may work better in there again. Chromatic Lantern, it's great mana fixing, it's great mana ramp, probably would be a good card to stick in to make sure that Bolas can be reliably played. But alas, as you can see, I don't have one, and I've not made a 5-colour deck where I feel I need one yet, so it just didn't go in. 4 mana, counter target spell unless the opponent pays 2. Amass 2. It doesn't quite justify, once again, it's the same issue as Bleeding Edge, the cost versus the counter spell isn't quite there. If it was 3 mana, I would probably still go with it, even though it's probably still not the best. But 2 mana is a lot more easily paid than 3. Relentless Advance, Amass 3. Straight up, Amass 3. Yeah, it's fun if I'm able to get a copy with Kefnet, but otherwise it's kind of iffy. Awaken the Erstwhile. Each player discards all cards in their hand, makes that many black zombies. If I've got something that's giving my zombies buffs, this can work really well in my favour, as well as just heating out the entire opponent's hand. But once again, I don't have one, so it's not worth testing, and also I probably like my hand a bit more and to get the value out of it for the Amass again. So it's potentially a good finisher if I've got the setup, but I'm not expecting that to happen often enough for it to be worthwhile. Bontu is incredibly flavorful, has a good body, and gets to keep recurring itself, and will probably be able to draw me a card or two from sacking a few of the smaller things I can afford to sack, but once again don't have one, and I don't think it's got that much of a net gain for the deck to go in. This is Draft Chaff. It proliferates and has a big body, but it's not quite what we're looking for. Chandra would be another good Planeswalker that's able to give some board clear presence. It would potentially take out some of my... then again, it keeps alive my... the one that gives Hexproof and Menace to the zombie tokens lives, so that's fine. It does still work with... it does clear out the zombies, though, which is a bit of an issue. But if I need to use the board wipe, then that's good. But once again, don't have one. Didn't feel like crafting one. Invading Manticore is the only ETB creature that didn't make it into the deck because at 6 mana it felt too expensive to keep replaying with things that could then bring it back and play again. And it's a 4/5, so it's decent with the Amass when we've got an Amass body, but I'm then just waiting too long to play it and would rather play other things on turn 6. And then finally, Captive Audience, another card that I just don't have. Would be really fun to play, though, if I were to once again get to the high mana ranges at 7. Because, yeah, opponent gets it, their life total becomes 4. Really easy to kill with the army at that point. The opponent discards their hand. It's normally the least effective one since they get a turn to play out that. Each opponent creates 5 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Gets me more zombie tokens. But yeah, once again, card I've not got. and also is probably a bit on the high end, and then requires a lot more controlling elements to get the value to last, essentially. And I do think there's one more card I missed, which was Icon of Ancestry, because I got a lot of zombies. It gives a 1/1 buff, but and all of the creatures, or at least I think the majority of the creatures, are zombies. Yeah, eight of them, 8 of the 12. But yeah, not a lot of creatures. So it is the +1/+1 buff, but otherwise it's not doing much. So with all of that covered, let's get into the games. Zarek. I'm going to assume it functions somewhat similarly. This starts with a Dreadhorde invasion, so I'm not going to say now. I'm assuming this is going to be similar to Niv Mizzet per run, though with Ral instead. I guess it could, I mean, they both care about draw. I guess this cares more about instants and sorceries than just straight up a hello Ral. Right, so we get our Dreadhorde invasion down on curve. And then we hope we draw another land, preferably blue. That will do it. And let's hope there's no negate here. Oh, is that a negate? If it is, then they didn't use it, so... Okay, hopefully it was just that anticipate. Okay. Let's get the ball rolling. Okay, they've got access to Ral next turn. They've not got much in the graveyard to use with Ral, so might not be the best choice for that turn. That's awkward. I get 5 mana next turn at least, but I don't have the mana for Nicol Bolas. No reason to hold off on this. In fact, I should have done this first because I could have then dropped the Dreadhorde twins. They might have Quench. Quenches would seem reasonable. Yeah, that was a mistake. Playing anything. Do I try and pressure? Because they've definitely got some form of counterspell. They got Quench, they can't Quench with this. I still have the Eternal Skylord. If they want to answer the zombies, they have to do so now, or the army. And it does get it into lifelink range. Yep, that's fine. Not got a problem with that. Do they have an unsummon as well? Nice. Okay, now Ral Zarek does actually have a pretty impressive shock on him. Although he doesn't want to play into Nicol Bolas. Understandable. Let's try setting up our own. Okay, that's that. Now next turn we've got Eternal Skylord. Does he still have another counterspell up? Field of the Dead. I'm one land short for starting to trigger that. So, it's not the worst. Sure, I'll go for the Skylord first. If we've got another counterspell, then go for it. I do have my Deliver Enter Evil, so I will be getting all of these back, hopefully. Alright, so they've definitely got another counterspell of some description. Oh. Maybe it was just Amasster's Insight and they just entered through really quickly. They should probably play Brawl. They should probably shock the Eternal Skylord or the zombie whilst they can. Although doing that, they then lose Brawl, I believe. Ah, Beacon Bolt would do it. That leaves 2 mana. They could still have a counterspell up. I still don't have the mana required for Nicol Bolas anyway, but I also don't have anything for Invade the City. It's pretty bad. Khan's Bastion at least gives me something to do, and it triggers the Field of the Dead, which gives them flying. That's sorcery speed. Yeah, I'll hold for now. I can proliferate at the very least. Don't have the double blue for the Vantress Scry, but oh well. Devil's pretty good. Alright. What is it you're waiting to do? Chemist's Insight again? I mean, that definitely kills it. I'm going to... Does this... Okay. I think this makes it fizzle, but I can't say for certain. So I might be making a big mistake here and using up prime removal for whatever they'd be putting into play. But I want to see if this works. So at the very least, it's a learning experience. I hope they are still there and just going for a rope. Because if they're not there, then the Electro Dominance probably would fizzle. Well, not fizzle, but the effect would go away. I think this was a really dumb play, but in all honesty, I probably shouldn't have done this. But my curiosity's gotten the better of me. Since it dies either way, and now I'm down an answer to whatever they get out with Electro Dominance. Okay, I went straight to graveyard. So I think it did what I was expecting it to do. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it fizzles because the effect is in one go. And they passed there, so they're definitely still there. They were just rope. Oh. Or maybe they disconnected, came back accidentally. Yeah. Ah well. Okay, now the Niv-Mizzet deck. Well, that's all tapped, but it's technically all mana. Opponent's going first. I think I'll keep it for now. If I draw, I can get both of these down. I've got that as a good thing to throw away if I draw another land. I'm playing a little bit on the slow side, but I do have things I can then do. And if I don't draw anything, then hey, that's a third land still. Farmlands Research. That's a mild concern. I mean, it does more, is it? So I've got one as well. You have this canisters, draw a card. Sorry, you get a counter, you draw 2 cards. Get myself a swamp. That's good. I think Angrath minus Angrath gets me the largest Amass in the shortest time.
Fight for it.
I have practiced to meditate and prepare.
Ooh, whiff. Hello. I was going to Cleaving Overseer.
Come on.
Maybe I should have still overseered.
You are a mighty warrior.
Okay.
I concede.
Dread Horde. Do you have a counter spell? Nope, anticipate. Building up counters there. So I can make it big. I could make it big enough, or I can just drop Narset and make them hate me forever. Ah, okay, I whiff as well. That does feel a little bad. Visit. Into the God Eternals. Ah, I need that one more land. They still get to draw 1 card, so they can kill Angrath.
I'll
fine.
have you in chains next time.
I want Angrath dead, so I can bring it back with Honor the God Pharaohs. Or Honor the God Pharaoh. Sorry, Aid the Fallen. do I drop? I can kill that. That, harder to kill. But they don't draw a card? They can draw one card with Farmland's Research during my turn. That is a 5th land. Black, black, black. No, I think I get my 2nd blue. So, I can enter the God Eternals, which will make it really big, but it's just going to be blocked at the moment. I think I play this. Okay, you do have a counter spell. Let's let that resolve. Ooh, Ugin's a nice thing to get back with Aid of the Fallen, though I am 1 mana short. So I think what I do, now that they are tapped out, so with this, how do you block? Double block. Perfect. If they drop out Niv-Mizzet again, I'll drop out Nicol Bolas. Okay, they kill that. So they can now draw some cards again, but I'm definitely getting that back with Aid the Fallen.
Miss your company.
And then probably playing it immediately. Three mana. I think I attack first to see if they use that for any shenanigans here. Nope. Okay, 8-4. Oh. Okay, you're letting me get them back. Is it because your counterspell is Quench or something? Something that requires me to pay mana. You gate that, but not... Okay, that's fine. Okay, good game.
The multiverse in your existence.
Cannon victory! Well, then the army got destroyed by... Well, no, I guess didn't get destroyed. Chandra? Liliana. Slightly different Planeswalkers. Liliana decided to turn it on Bolas. I'm genuinely surprised that it's actually managed to win both those games. I mean, I guess it's basically playing against the same deck, albeit 2 different flavors of it. Okay, Alayla, let's see how this goes. I think this is a mulligan. Yeah, that seems better. brutality. I do need the double red for that. It'll be good if I get the double red. Alright, well. I think I dropped the portal here. Gives me a way to repeatedly amass, although it's probably not going to go too well unless I get that second red. Not playing out a Layla. Interesting. This is all my blue. None of my black or red. Alright, Olga. What do you find me? That was my second red land. Rip me. There's a Layla. Probably got a 1-mana thing to play. I am going to bounce a Layla to hand. Yep. To slow them down for next turn. But this isn't looking like it's going to go our way. Get hit for 3. Okay, I can row. Currently only able to bolt for 1, but it should give me some setup going. I'll attack with all. Sure, they can trade into the 1/1, but I'm fine with that. It's a good point actually. So 6, 3, 4, 5. So they can kill Row.
You ready to go toe to toe with me?
But I do think I want
we
to.
get something good.
Ah! Why do you do this to me? Isn't it? Okay. This probably was the wrong one to go for. I should have just gone straight for the invasion.
I need to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Okay, I think this is my game plan. I think I can last. So, I'm almost completely. Actually, no, I'm going to commence the end game, so it should get big. Okay, I'm just going to pass the turn. I'm going to Fabled Passage for a second mountain, and then commence the end game. Hopefully, after they've played all their mana. This is going to hurt for this turn, though. Oh, this is really going to hurt for this turn. 14. Yep. They've got 1 mana up in blue, so that can't be countered. Okay, I should be fine. So, second red. Oh wait, I've only got the 1 basic mountain. I should probably put a second one in just for this exact occasion. I guess black it is then. Draw me a land. I need it. Okay, that'll do. Can I afford? No, I can't afford Almost research as well. No, let's not do that. Since I can just play out the Overseer. Okay, the good news is I've got Nicol Bolas now. So if they don't have anything immediately capable of being played, then I just kill Alela. Extra 2. Something, I guess. I think I still do that.
God, once again.
Their deck is pretty much built around Alela. The more they've got to dump in playing it, and the more I can answer it, better. Still attack with that. Since, yeah, they can block it, but it has to be a double block. And I might be able to surprise lethal them. Can still play a Layla this turn. Let's have that. So yeah, lesson learned today. Get 1 more basic mountain in there so that I can grab the second mountain if I need to. Because they have to block this. Well, they don't. But if I can get 1 more counter on it, they have to. If I were to portal that and then play that again, then I could force them to block. But then that leaves it open for a while. That's a while that I may not have. So I'm hoping they play a Layla, a Nicol Bolas to blow up their Layla again, punch them for 8. The Mirror Maid can't copy their Stone Call without dying. Could copy the Banner. Yeah, they've not got anything particularly worth Mirror Maiding at the moment. That's the issue they've got on that front. Yeah, they're tapping out for a Layla. Scholar of the Ages. 4, 5, 6. That leaves me with 2 mana, so not quite enough. Do I do this again, or do I just Murderous Rider it? I think I just Murderous Rider it. 6. Actually, no. I should have nickel Bolas since I can't Murderous Rider the Stone Coil. Okay, they've got one turn. That goes with some life, so that's nice. They now have forced double block. Do you have a counterspell? Yes, they do. That's fine. They're digging. I should have attacked with the Gleaming Overseer. That would have done it. They had to double block that. The Gleaming Overseer was safe. Ah. If they turn this around now, I'm going to feel really, really dumb. Shimmer Dragon. Can draw them a card. But it's not going to do it. Since this still has hexproof. Oh! Now that might just do it. Or not. I mean, I still attack with both and it's still a kill.
Has consequence.
Alright. This deck had no right doing as well as it did. I honestly don't think it should have done. I'm going to just assume I think I got really, really lucky with the decks I played against. Since... well, I think I need to reboot my computer. There's some lag going on here. Yeah, the first two decks, both Izzet decks, both built heavily around drawing cards and playing spells, not many creatures to block. And with Alayla, I had just enough removal to keep Alayla down after getting that board wipe. So, hooray for widespread brutality, I guess. Just murder everything.